All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the recap. Michael D'Angelo, El Comandante, Daryl Ortiz. A couple of weeks away from Night of Champions, King and Queen of the Ring, basically, but
Yep.
Night of Champions. So we're doing that Fast and Furious sprint. However, before we get to talking about Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown, just wanted to say congratulations to Dan House
Yeah. They better give him a ring.
the New York Knicks for their big victory in the NBA Finals. So he's managed to pull off the greatest coup, as we said, in wrestling history. Where does he go from here at this point, Big D?
I don't know. I mean, but you know what? I mean, granted, yes, they technically lost to one, but I mean, still, 4-1 victory in the NBA Finals is a hell of an accomplishment, especially for your first one in so long, right? So, I mean, yeah, they definitely. I mean, he needs a ring. He needs like he already has a jersey.
At
but
least be part of the parade. I'm sure he'll be part of
Yeah.
the parade. He's
Oh my
got
god, him in the parade would be hilarious with the title and then holding the trophy. Like that would be so great. That would be hilarious.
Well, him and hobnobbing with all the celebrities, like him and Ben Stiller were buddying up during like an
Yeah.
ESPN interview out there. So that like this has been just an amazing kind of shot towards his career, and he was obviously
Yeah.
already doing really, really well in WWE.
Yeah.
He got so much mainstream exposure from this whole shenanigan. I got to say though, I hope he just stops here. Please don't try to uncurse any other teams because like the odds of this
Like stop
working
making
out,
it a thing. Yeah.
don't uncurse the Dallas Cowboys or something because that's
Hey,
not
hey,
going to
hey!
happen.
I wouldn't be opposed
So,
to that. I'd give him my human monies.
well,
But
because I
yeah,
keep seeing people on social media say, "Can you please uncurse the Cowboys?" So I'm like, "No, don't do
yeah,
it. Don't do it." Like you don't want to accidentally like this was so fortunate that it worked out. You don't
yeah.
want to lose any credibility. He should just retire from it. No more uncursing sports teams.
I think he should just go back to like because he has a program going on with the Miz and Kit Wilson, which is hilarious on SmackDown. But it was good, and I like that they did a little callback to it. It was funny because they did a callback to it on Friday on SmackDown, and they had Los Garzas go, and they were like, "Well, here's a bag of money to like to curse the Knicks again." And I love how he said like, "I love how he said like, well, I'm not going to do it, but I'm going to keep your money." I'm like,
I'm not gonna do it if I keep your money. And then Matt Cardona came up to him and was
gives
like,
him the
"I need
watch.
you to too." Yeah, and he's like, "Hey Zach," and he's like, "No, it's Matt Cardona." So like, I like the fact he called him Zach Ryder, and then
Yeah.
he's like, use the watch to try to keep them uncursed.
I think he was
Like,
asking for the ring before Kit Wilson came in. He's like his wedding band. He's like, "Give me the ring too." And he's like, and he thought about it for a second because it's like anything
yeah.
for the Knicks. But yeah,
Well,
that's
and that was what's
great.
funny is that he doubled down on it, and that was the night before the final
Exactly.
game, what turned out to be the final game. So he doubled down on he wasn't going to uncurse them, and it worked out. So congratulations to Dan House.
Yeah,
And
let's
man,
leave it at that. I think we should just leave it at that and then stick to the
leave it
program
there.
right now. He got Miz doing amazing work as like a zombie Frankenstein
Yeah,
type
now he's
guy.
like a zombie Frankenstein. He can only say his own catchphrases now. And then I guess Kit Wilson's going to have something similar happen because he also got electrocuted on SmackDown.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But see, like I like that because then it keeps you like you want to watch again because you're like, oh, let's see, and you hear the pop whenever they cut to like his promo, like the crowd just like goes crazy because again, well deserved for him. I love that Danhausen is getting that exposure and getting that recognition. I think it's awesome. So hopefully it stays, but.
Hopefully so.
Before we
Monday
get
Night
to the
Raw.
SmackDown fun, Monday Night Raw, it was all right. There's a lot going on. Yeah, you started out with Obafemi and Dominic Mysterio because, of course, they got to face each other in the qualifier for King of the Ring. I like that they had Obafemi Oba can't lose, right? Because they had him just take a chair shot from JD McDonough and not like it was just no sell that chair shot. And then, of course, he was like, because I think he's also saying he's not done with Brock Lesnar. He still wants Brock Lesnar again because they're 1-1.
Yeah.
Obviously, calling to him because SummerSlam is going to be in Minnesota, which is his home state. So obviously, they're going to have the rubber match there. So to me, he can't lose against Dom. Unless, like we said, Brock Lesnar comes out and interferes.
Can.
Yeah.
Well,
and I'd be okay with that. Honestly, I would. Because Dom has the potential to like really push the King of the Ring crown like really well. But even if he doesn't win it, right? It doesn't matter. If he can get by Oba with help from Brock Lesnar, it'll be the whole like I served hard time in prison deal again, where he can be like, "Oh, I beat Obafemi," like you know what I mean? Like it'll just help give him it'll help push his character. So in a way, I love Obafemi, but in a way, I kind of hope that Brock Lesnar interferes because that would be.
And I think he will, and I think that was the reason why he referenced Paul Heyman and said it was a spoiler. He was going to win. He said he still wants to collect the head of Lesnar and called him out for being a coward for having disappeared
Mm-hmm.
and attacked him and like beat him up and disappeared. And so this is where I'm like, okay, like you called him a coward. You said he just vanished. You threw it up there, so that gives Lesnar a week to reappear and cost him this match. So that for me almost like telegraphed of, oh man. So you are going to see obviously all the interference from the Judgment Day, I'm sure.
Oh yeah,
And then
which
of course
he'll
while they're,
overcome.
of course,
Yeah.
he'll overcome that, but I think he won't overcome Lesnar, and I do think Dominic's going to advance, and that's how they're doing this. Just because there was so much talk, there wasn't really even reason for him to address Brock Lesnar in that promo,
No, but he did. Yeah.
but he did, and he
Mm-hmm.
did, and I think it was always like, oh, this is a spoiler.
Or who
I'm
knows?
going on
Maybe
record.
not cost him the match, but maybe they brawl, count out. You know what I mean? Like count out
Yeah.
because he's outside or something, and Dom just waits inside the ring and takes the victory. But
Well, still, it'll still cost him whether he gets a pin over him or not. I think
Mhm.
he's still not going to advance here, especially kind of with what happened on SmackDown
Yeah,
as
which
well.
we'll touch base
So,
on right
which
now.
we'll touch
Yeah.
on later. Yeah.
But after that, speaking of Judgment Day, Liv Morgan won her match against Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, and Chelsea Green on her birthday with
Yeah.
a surprise roll up, the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment. But yeah, it was fine. Like I said, I don't agree with Liv Morgan winning because it just doesn't make sense to me. She's already the women's champion. So, I mean, I guess. I mean, there's no point in her. It just because it tells you that she's not going to win the Queen of the Ring. Like, why would she win the Queen of the Ring while being champion?
Yeah. So that she can challenge and try to become a double champion. Well,
I mean,
she
it
shouldn't
would
have been
make
in the
more sense if
tournament
she were to
at
lose her
all.
title.
Yeah.
Then, okay, cool, she's trying to get it back, but she has the title right now. She hasn't even defended
Yeah.
it. So, I mean, like,
Yeah, it's weird, and like insult to injury. Liv Morgan won clean, stealing it from Chelsea Green, and Chelsea Green was about to win after hitting the unprettier, and then Liv Morgan just snuck in and got it, which looks like on the brackets it's leading to a showdown between Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez because they're on
mhm.
opposite sides. So if it gets to the final, they would both be in the final against each other, and they've been kind of teasing a fallout between these two for a while.
Yeah,
And I almost wonder, does that happen? Does Raquel beat her? And then Raquel uses that title shot to challenge Liv for her title.
maybe.
Kind of feels like that's where they're maybe
Yeah,
headed, but we'll see.
yeah. Time will tell. We got Sol Ruka defend her Intercontinental title against Lyra Valkyria. Sol Ruka successfully retained, so she's good there. She did win. Again, this was fine. It was her just being a fighting champion, which I can respect and I appreciate. So, I mean, that's not much to that outside of that. I mean, she hit the soul snatcher.
Yeah, it was solid. I mean, for first title defense, you knew she wasn't going to lose.
Yeah. After that, we had LA Knight and Jey Uso going at each other verbally, pretty much saying that, LA Knight just saying that he's going to win King of the Ring and he's going to go after Roman Reigns. So that's kind of the story because he said Roman Reigns, Jey Uso's offended. So that story is still going on. Sprinkled in Jacob and sprinkled in Solo on SmackDown, which we'll talk about as well. But we also had Chad Gable going on his redemption tour, apologizing to Penta.
Every Lucha Libre wrestler on the roster.
Which,
It looks like.
I mean, I get it and I appreciate that because it kind of tied in nicely with what happened next because you had Penta versus Rey Mysterio in the Intercontinental title match. I thought that was a great match. Honestly, probably my match of the night just because it was so good. And at the end, you had Ethan Page and Rusev attack them both. Dragon Lee tries to make the save, but of course, they pull off Rey Mysterio's mask. Rusev does out of disrespect, which of course they cover him up real quick with a towel, which is what we normally do in Lucha Libre. And Chad Gable came out, kind of fend them off. He took out Ethan Page, and then he got the mask and gave it back to Penta to give back to Rey Mysterio, which again, his gesture of like respect, like he understands what the mask means. But you could see every time he holds the mask, he's just like staring at it, like remembering when he wore a mask and like what it meant for him. So he just kind of like it's gonna be that internal dialogue. And I like that he got his old theme music back.
Yeah, he got his old theme music, which I thought
I
was
love
interesting
it.
too.
I was so glad he got that. I missed that song. It's so generic, but it's so good. Like I love it.
Yeah.
I missed it. So I'm glad he has it back.
Yeah, and this one was good stuff. For me, I think it was real close to between this one and the main event, the King of the Ring qualifiers match of the night. They
Mhm.
were close. I think it's like 1 and 1A. I'd probably give the King of the Ring qualifier a little bit of an edge on mine, but this was a really great match.
Yeah, it was. After that, again, That was next up our main event, which was Javon Evans versus Seth Rollins versus Ricky Sates and Tala Tonga. Fatal 4-way. So we had Javon Evans win this match, and it was a great match. There was interference, of course, from the Vision trying to stop Seth Rollins, which is why you knew Seth Rollins was not going to win this one, just because he has his beef with the Vision. So Austin Theory and Braun Breaker both coming out to interfere. Ricky Saints, you knew it was kind of too soon for him. He's still like fresh new. Tala Tonga is just he wasn't going to win. So Javon Evans was the best choice here. I feel it was a good choice for him to win, and he looked great. Honestly, he looked awesome. I think the way he, let me see here, he did everything, flying over, leaping clothesline, all the flips and flops and flippities and everything. It was great. I enjoyed it very much.
And he hit the OG
but I like that Montez Ford.
Ricky Saints. And he got the pin on Saints, which he kind of knew the Saints was going to be the one taking the pin there.
Yeah, of course.
You had the Austin Theory pulling the ref out. You got Montez Ford getting Austin Theory. Then you had Breaker spearing Rollins. So like the ending, I was like, oh no, I think they overbooked this ending a little bit too much because there was too many things happening. But it worked out really well, and it kind of opened the door for it. Let everyone save face. Allowed Evans to hit the OG cutter on Saints and get the win, which I really liked. I liked him advancing here. I just know now that with the brackets, because now it'll be him versus, spoiler alert, Jey Uso. And I don't see him beating Jey Uso, unfortunately. Like the way that they've have this mapped out, I'd be really, really surprised if Javon Evans beat Jey Uso, which is disappointing. I would love
LA Knight could interfere.
He could because he got screwed again. But yeah, we'll talk about that shortly, because that for me, I was like, I hope anybody but Jey Uso wins this match, and then of course Jey Uso won it. But it would be really nice to see the young OG get a chance to be in the King of the Ring final. That'd be cool.
That would I wouldn't mind seeing him as King of the Ring either, but I think they're worried that he's too young still and too fresh. Yeah. But I mean, I think he did good. But anywho,
because if you think of the way the King of the Ring's been booked, like the last 5 winners, obviously the last 2 winners were Gunther and Cody Rhodes, and then they let them like obviously continue going to bigger things, get world titles. Before that, it was Xavier Woods
and Baron Corbin.
And then who's the announcer from SmackDown, or Wade Barrett.
Wade Barrett
was he's the other one, because they remember they went years without doing a King of the Ring.
Yeah.
So I'm like, those are your last 3. The last 3 before these 2. It was Wade Barrett, Xavier Woods. So it's when I and Baron Corbin, and I'm like, they didn't do anything with those 3 at all. Now it feels like they're just booking whoever they feel like are their top guys, because you had Gunther and Cody win. So that's where I feel like maybe in the old school, Javon Evans wins. The way that they're booking it now, it feels like it's Jey Uso.
Well, especially because of I think they did that to themselves, because they put the stipulation being the winner of the King of the Ring gets a title shot, which was never a thing. That was never a thing.
You were just the reigning King of the Ring.
That's all it was. I mean, look at King Booker, look at Stone Cold, like, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like it Triple H, you know, it was just a way to kind of give you something to do while you waited for your spot in line. But now it's like you get a title shot. So I think that's why they did that. They kind of put themselves in a spot there. So
yeah.
But that was Raw.
Wow. That was Raw. And then SmackDown opened with Cody Rhodes and Nick Aldis, and kind of teasing, what's the stipulation going to be from Gunther for their title match next week. And then Cody ran into the Usos, and Jay said he's coming after that championship. Then you had Jade Cargill and her cronies in a backstage interview, and then Charlotte's music hit, and then we went straight into the Queen of the Ring Crawl of Fire, which was Charlotte versus Sol Ruca versus Lyra Valkyria versus Jade Cargill. And of course, you had B-Fab and Michin getting involved, which brought out Alexa Bliss and Tiffany Stratton to kind of clear everybody out. And so after they all neutralized each other, it was a solid match. It was good.
Yeah.
Charlotte did win here. She picked up the win. She got Lyra Valkyria in the figure 8, got the submission. It was fine. And then Charlotte's going to face Liv Morgan in the semifinals, which I'd be a little surprised if Charlotte beats Liv at this point, to be totally honest.
Like the way they've been booking it, yeah. I mean, it would make sense to have Charlotte win. Personally, I feel it would make sense to have her win. I think Charlotte was the good call out of the 4 in here. So Ruca, again, you're putting your champion in a match that doesn't matter for them, because Sol Ruca is the Intercontinental Champion. It's fine. Lyra makes sense. Jade Cargill clearly makes sense. But yeah, you kind of knew it was going to be Charlotte, because they don't have the tag titles anymore. And you've been seeing Charlotte kind of compete on her own a little bit now. So they've kind of been teasing that. So, I mean, and not that they're breaking up, Alexa and Charlotte, but I mean, if Charlotte doesn't beat,
No, go ahead.
Sorry, if Charlotte doesn't beat Liv, then that's going to be WWE's way of saying that Charlotte and Alexa are essentially just going to stay a tag team until forever. I feel.
Well, and the other thing that they kind of alluded to, because Jade all of a sudden, she had a moment later in the show where she attacked Tiffany Stratton and stood over
Mm-hmm.
her and grabbed like the U.S. championship.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, "Oh, is Jade now interested in the U.S. title?" So she's like, no longer interested in world titles. She wants to get a mid card title. I almost see like they've already been teasing Charlotte versus Jade Cargill constantly
Yeah,
and having them feud with each other. So do they take the U.S. championship, put it on Jade, and then move Charlotte into that rivalry for that
maybe.
title?
Yeah.
That almost feels like they're kind of transitioning that, which opens the door for Liv to beat her. We'll see, but she's definitely moving on to more of singles competition since she's back. Again, been back. I feel like the tag with Alexa kind of allowed her to get her feet back, and
Yeah.
now she's like, "Hey, I'm ready to move forward back as a singles competitor."
Yeah, I agree.
And then Gunther and Nick Aldis came back together, and Gunther was like, "I'll let you know by the end of the night." So he kept teasing this. After this, Finn Balor is officially on SmackDown. So they kind of officially announced that. And then, of course, you had Damian Priest and R-Truth run into him backstage. R-Truth was trying to get the Judgment Day back together.
R-Truth is so good.
Which was still good. It was funny. Obviously, Damian Priest and Finn Balor's history, they still are suspicious of each other, but they're both faces now. So we'll see how this goes. And then after
But
this,
you did have Tama Tonga approach Finn and say, "Hey, it's been a long time. Former Bullet Club buddies. I hope that there's something there."
Yeah, they're teasing it. But then they also had him try to be buddies with Shinsuke Nakamura, and they just kind of abandoned that too.
I know, but this one would be so great.
Know.
I'd love
this
to
would
see.
Be cool if they
well, I'm scared. I'd be afraid to see a WWE version of the Bullet Club. I'd worry that it would be like WWE's version of NWO that just fell apart, you know? And so I want it for nostalgia purposes, but I'm worried. We'll see.
Well, we'll see. After this, we had Paige and Brie Bella versus Fatal Influence, accompanied by JC Jane. JC just interfered right in front of the ref and got herself thrown out, which caused a distraction and allowed Paige to get a surprise roll up for the win. It was fine. It was like not great. I tend to look at Paige and Brie Bella as their best years are behind them. It feels like at this point in terms of being an in-ring competitors.
They hardly they didn't go on the European tour, did they?
Yeah, they didn't. And this is where I'm like, they're kind of part-timing it. It's just felt thrown together because it was. They threw it together because of Nikki Bella's injury. So it was like, okay, but nothing to write home about. Was what it was. And then you had Sami Zayn talking to Johnny Gargano's corpse backstage again, which this bit's gotten old for me at this point. Like it stopped being funny like 5 segments ago. And I really wish that they would stop insulting Johnny Gargano and give him something.
Yeah. He's such a great talent. Like I hate it.
Yeah. And then, of course, we already talked about Danhausen in the laboratory, so we'll skip that part, but that was probably one of the best parts of SmackDown.
I loved it. Yeah.
Touched on it earlier. After this, Sami Zayn came out for a promo and basically called out Cody Rhodes to clear the air. Sami basically just recapped everything that happened over the past few weeks and was like, was it really an accident that Cody took him out last week? And then Cody was like, we're competing. I can't just turn it off, which kind of seemed like a lame response. And Sami said that
he was happy for Cody pro wrestling to you.
I know. Let me explain pro wrestling to you. I can't just switch this off. It's like, okay, that's not a human response. But Sami said he was happy for Cody winning the title more than anyone else who came out and celebrated with him, and that all those guys who celebrated with him were no longer his friends anymore. So the problem was obviously Cody, which he's not wrong. Like as Sami was saying all this, I'm like, there's a lot of truth to all of that. I can't disagree with him. And then basically he was just like, well, to be honest, you suck. Everyone here is chanting that you suck. You're not the same old Sami Zayn. And then as long as he had the WWE Championship, he'd have the title because it meant Sami never will, which is like a total heel thing to say. And then Sami slapped him for saying that, then apologized and hugged Cody, who then slapped him back after the apology and the hug. And then Sami left and got a chair in return to kind of stare him down like, I'm going to get you with this. But then ditched it and left for real this time. So this was all being done to set up the announcement later from Gunther. But thoughts on this?
Just turn Cody heel already. Like, for the love of God, just do it. I mean,
it's like because he's doing all heel stuff this whole time, and this was very between the two of them. Yes, Sami's being whiny and being a heel, but he is a bigger heel here.
Yeah, I agree. I just I hate it because I feel it's doing more damage to Sami's character than it is Cody's. I get what they're trying to build, but at the same time, you're making Sami look like this non-talented peon who's just whining for an opportunity, and that's not the case. You know what I mean? Like it's really not the case, and it's sad to see that they're trying to do this to Sami. But he's gonna get his comeuppance. We'll talk about that here in a sec. But I have a theory
Yeah.
about that. But yeah,
Okay.
the segment was just more to put more heat on Cody, but it didn't work because the crowd blindly will follow Cody because he's a champ and he gives the kids all the autographs and stuff. So I mean, I don't know. I just think that Cody kind of jinxed himself when he said, "For as long as I have this title, you never will." So it's just kind of
Yeah.
like,
Well, yeah, and that might lead to. I mean, after the stipulation, I was like, oh, they've got to do a title change now. But yeah, after this, we had Solo Sikoa and Jake Fatu. And Jacob had a message from Roman that Roman needs Solo to come home, and Solo just kind of laughed at him, which I agreed with, and said it wasn't a home, it was a doghouse, and Jacob was Roman's lapdog. And then asked, "Hey, what happened to you, man? You used to be the Samoan werewolf. Like, look at you now. You've been neutered." Not wrong. Again, I'm like, yeah, that there's a lot of truth here. This was fine. They've got a little bit too many bloodline threads kind of running here for me. Like there's just too much stuff happening. But your thoughts on this as well? Because I mean, technically Jacob swore his allegiance at this point.
yeah, I think I see it more as like Jacob is being like a good soldier, right? He knows that he made a commitment and he made a deal. He lost. He's keeping up his end of the bargain, and as much as it pains him to do it, you could tell there's hesitation in a lot of the stuff that he does. He's doing a really good job of showing that emotion, and so I feel that he's hesitantly the lapdog. Yes, he is the lapdog. Yes, he is the errand boy. Hesitantly, he doesn't like it, but like that's the vibe I get. Is like he doesn't like it. He doesn't like doing it. He loathes it actually, but he's doing it because he's a man of honor and he is a man of his word. And that's I feel like that's going to reach a boiling point eventually. When and how, I don't know, but it's going to get to a boiling point and you're going to see him blow up again. And it's going to be great to see. But at this time, for now, it kind of gives everyone else good content to say, good times to say stuff to him and get good shots in here and there. So Solo, I have my hesitations again because I know Solo said no, but we'll talk about the main event
Well,
later.
and
But
I'll only be happy about this if it results because Jacob and Jay have been kind of feuding.
yeah.
If Jacob gets interferes in Jay's match with Javon Evans and Costa, that'll be the only way I'll be happy with that payoff, and I don't see that happening. But speaking of happy, match of the night for me, Ray Phoenix versus Axiom for the AAA Cruiserweight title. Really fun match. First title defense for Phoenix. He knew he wasn't going to lose here. Phoenix did hit the Mexican Muscle Buster for the win. You had a really, really nice Spanish fly that went like all the way to the center of the ring. It was really great and a lot of fun. But sadly, that the AAA Cruiserweight title defense is the best thing that happened on WWE programming. And I know they're both WWE guys, but they're also both Lucha Libre guys. So this is where I go. The best thing that happens shouldn't be something that happens for another promotion, because the best thing that happened on Raw last week was the replay of the Mask versus Mask match
Yeah.
in AAA.
Yeah.
So this for me does not bode well for WWE programming, but I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, this was my match of the night as well, and I truly appreciated and love seeing the AAA cruiserweight title being defended with two amazing luchadores. Like it was great. I mean, I loved every minute of it. Every minute of it, I thought it was awesome. I liked that they let Rey Fenix and Axiom just do their thing. Like you could tell they had like free reign in that match. They did their thing. They stole the show. I feel the crowd was into it. The crowd loved it, and what's not to love about it, right? A couple high flyers going in, doing their thing. It was so good, and I enjoyed every bit of it. So,
Speaking of loving it, Gunther and Nick Aldis stipulation finally out, and he basically said he wants Sami Zayn to be the special referee for his title match with Cody, which was hilariously brilliant by Gunther because clearly they have problems with each other. Clearly there's a bias. And now I do think that opens the door for possibly seeing a title change. And as you alluded to earlier, because of the comment of like, as long as I have this, you're never going to have it. That's even more incentive for Sami to cost him the titles.
Because he called him desperate. And he's like, okay, if he is, that's what's going to happen. He's going to cost you that title. But I feel like this is, if Cody retains, this is going to turn it into a triple threat at SummerSlam.
Yeah. Very, very, very possibly. But this I thought was brilliant by the ring general Gunther.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
After this, we had Trick Williams and Little Yachty, and we were 2 hours into a 3-hour show with only 3 matches so far. So this is
a lot of promos.
Cannot wait for SmackDown to go back to the 2-hour format. I know it's coming. I have to check the date again. It's coming up soon when they'll be moving back to the 2-hour format. But they were just filling time with promos and commercials. And the extra hour is not getting us more wrestling because we only had 5 matches total. But you had Trick coming out saying he's the leader of the new school. He got interrupted by Carmelo Hayes and Ricky Saints. And they said, pick somebody to face for the title. And then everyone jawed. Ricky pushed Carmelo into Trick as Trick was leaving the ring. A brawl ensued, and then essentially Trick got back into the ring and stood tall at the end of a big scuffle. So it was fine. I would rather have seen a match between somebody here, or have Ricky Saints and Carmelo maybe do the blow off, and winner goes and faces Trick Williams. None of that happened. It was just a pull apart brawl.
Yeah, it wasn't anything like. I mean, it's really just to set up Trick Williams versus Ricky Saints at some point for number 1 contendership. So
yeah. And then after this, you had Chelsea Green out with Tiffany Stratton, and it was Stratton and Green versus Meechin and BFAB. And at this point, 3 of the 4 matches were women's matches, which was interesting too.
Yeah.
You had Jade ringside late. Green got taken out with a Styles Clash, and then she took the loss for the team because, of course, Chelsea Green can't win. She takes the pin. She took the pin on Monday night, and she took the pin here too. And then the beatdown after the match on Tiffany Stratton. As I mentioned earlier, this is where Jade grabbed the U.S. Championship and kind of held it over her. And she's coming after the U.S. Championship now. All of a sudden, she has an interest in it.
Yeah. This was all just to set up that moment. To be honest with you, I think that this was it was fine, but again, this was just to set up the moment between Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton. That's not much to say about the match. I mean, it was fine.
Yeah, and then our final match was the King of the Ring qualifier: Finn Balor versus LA Knight versus Jey Uso versus Royce Keys. I was really hoping for Finn or LA Knight to advance, so of course that didn't happen. You had Solo Sikoa. You had Jimmy out at ringside. You had Solo Sikoa out at ringside. Towards the end, everybody ganged up on Royce Keys and triple power bombed him through the announce table. That was pretty cool. They had Solo hit a Samoan spike on LA Knight. Keys went for the pin, and then Jay splashed both of them and covered both of them, and really covered LA Knight and got the win in advance. So not only did LA Knight not win, he took 2 finishers and then took the pin because you got to just grind him into the ground for some reason. So disappointingly for me, Jey Uso advanced. It'll be Jey Uso versus Javon Evans in the semifinals, which I really hope, I was saying, I hope to God that something happens where Javon Evans is going to advance, but I really don't see that happening, especially the way that they're doing this kind of reimagining of the bloodline. I have to imagine he's going to get help, or maybe Solo interferes and costs them. I don't know. There's going to be an out.
Yeah. So part of me thinks, and again, this is just my crazy brain and how it works. Solo interfering, right, was intended to help Royce Keys, but was he really helping Jay? Right? Because he had to have known where Jay was, and he hit that spike on LA Knight. The fact that he hit it on LA Knight tells me that there's a very good possibility LA Knight's going to see this as your damn family got in my way again. Yeah. And now he's going to interfere in the Jey Uso Javon Evans match. I have a feeling that's what's going to happen. And that's what's going to cost Jay. Only because I can't see Jay being a king of the ring and Roman Reigns being the tribal chief. It kind of conflicts. You know what I mean? It's conflicting because look what happened the last time Jay was trying to go for a main event run, and you had those moments where he was the cracks in the foundation of the bloodline. So maybe Roman's just telling him that to keep him busy, but really doesn't want him to win King of the Ring. Because how are you going to have a king and a tribal chief? I just can't vision that, right? Because he gets a title shot. And I mean,
well, I hope so. I hope you're right. I would prefer that. I think what I worry about is Jay just ends up winning, and then Gunther wins, and then they go, it's Jay versus Gunther again at SummerSlam again. Hey, remember Jay made him tap last time, and it was and that's the narrative, and I'm like, I don't want that at all.
No, I honestly, I have a feeling that LA Knight's going to interfere.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think there'll be interference. We'll see. There's going to be interference to some degree, possibly in both. That would be kind of lame if you had Lesnar interfere to cost Obafemi, and then you had interference in the other one as well. But
wouldn't be the first time they did that.
Yeah, I was like, they like to copy paste and do stuff. They do the same thing from Raw on the SmackDown, so it's very possible.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it happening though. I mean, we'll see. But SmackDown does change to 2 hours at the end of June or beginning of July is the timeline.
Okay, so coming up in a couple of weeks. So thank goodness, because they didn't fill it with wrestling. They just filled it with more promos and more commercials. So I'm happier with the tight 2-hour format.
Yeah, it seems much longer like this.
Yeah. And on that note, that's what we got for this week. So we'll see. What did you think of the King of the Ring qualifiers this week? Did you agree or disagree with the bookings? We'd love to hear from you as always. And that's what we got for this week. So until next time, I've been Michael D'Angelo. He's been El Comandante Daryl Ortiz. Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you soon.